Alright, so here's Mr. Research back again with a couple of points on the Eddie Long situation a lot of you men may not have considered. You've heard a lot of people make videos about his death and what have you. I actually worked at New Birth in 2005 on the promotions team and also the singles team. But that's another story for another day. Um, Here's some things, and I'm not going to say good or bad about what he is or is not guilty of. That isn't the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to have you look at some key things that happen in the rise, fall, and then the passing away. Okay, first thing, as black men, you can crack jokes if you want to. You can say a bunch of stuff on what you think this guy did or not. Most important thing you black men need to understand. If he did not do it, public opinion made him guilty. And the message there is, as black males, you got to start really paying attention and protecting yourself against the possibility of social media judgments on the rest of your life. Because there's a lot of people who have blatantly not did anything wrong, and years later, government, Department of Justice says, hey, this person did nothing. You know, I think back to Richard Jewell, the white guy who was accused of bombing Centennial. America persecuted this guy for years. This is when social media was first taken off. They persecuted this guy for years. Come to find out, he actually saved people. But you ruined the rest of his life. Little known thing, the brother couldn't get another job. You know what I'm saying? For all the time he was persecuted, and years later, death threats, all this type of stuff. And then when the Department of Justice came out and said, hey, this guy's not, he didn't do anything, it took another 4 years for that to even get noticed by most people. So my point is, even if Eddie Long didn't do anything with them little young guys, you as black men got to pay close attention to how somebody can make a statement that you did or said something, and you not being in a position to fight it. So let me give you a small piece of example, okay? I personally know one aspect of the whole did he molest the boys thing. One thing I know was a blatant lie, and that's the issue of him being in a room with somebody that he bought somebody a room. Okay. Now, you know that's a blatant lie because that whole counseling system that they had at New Birth, any money that went to help anybody was, you had to sign off on so much stuff. Okay. Now the only way that the young guy who made that particular allegation could even validate that Eddie Long paid for it himself would mean that every time somebody from the counseling program came over there, the treasurer would have to ask, wait a minute, how did this get paid for? So my point is, someone else would have had to know. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying it's a reach. Because the way that I personally know, because I had to get money to help this little young prostitute that I found on the street. Actually, she was the prostitute, but somebody was going to make her a prostitute. She had to stay out on the street too much longer. She was a little young chick, big-chested chick, and her mother put her out at 13. And I was coming from a basketball game one day and sat up here and saw this little chick just walking down the street. I'm like, where are you going? Why are you on the street? Well, my mama kicked me out and blah, blah, blah. Wait, what do you mean your mama kicked you out? Yeah, I've been out on the street for 2, 3 days. So I took the chick to get some help to the church. Now this is one of the reasons why I fell out with New Birth. I took the girl to the church. No, no, you thirsty ass dudes. I wasn't thinking about fucking the little girl. Please stop thinking that dumb shit. Pussy is not that important. But I took the little girl to church, man, and they had no system to help her. They had no. I mean, a church that large had no system in place. They had no. It wasn't like I would think that they would have 100 ladies ready to take a young girl in their home, and they have a set of money, or they told me to contact Amway. It was one of the most disgusting things I interacted with. Okay, that was my personal experience. That was my personal experience. Then there was a time where, as I told you guys, I was homeless before. Then was a time where I needed to get some type of help with the rent. Way back when. And this was before I even ran into the little girl. And they helped me do that, but you had to go through a whole bunch of paperwork and what have you. So those two things existed. What ended up happening with the little girl, it was a friend of mine who had a kiosk at the mall. What I did was told him, hey, look, man, can you get this little girl a job because she ain't got no money? And he was a 17-year-old entrepreneur who was married, so he wasn't trying to trick the girl out. He was a really stand-up dude. And he said, yeah, I'll give her the job, blah, blah, blah. She just come back on Monday, be ready to work, because, he was printing T-shirts and what have you. And then lo and behold, the lady was walking by, and she overheard the conversation. She was walking by with her children. She was from New Birth, too. And she ended up taking the girl in on that same day. So, did what I can. But my point is that the sad thing in regards that New Birth kind of disgusted me with the fact that they couldn't help the little young girl out. You as a guy, you got to look at what Eddie Long went through if he was not guilty. Okay, if he was guilty, that's a totally different thing between him and the creator. But if he was not guilty, you got to look at that. The second thing you got to look at as far as Eddie Long is this, and a lot of us males have it, this fascination with appearances. Okay, it's one thing to work on your body. I never knocked that part of it. I know a lot of people tease them about that. But it's one thing to work on your body. But when he got that toupee, I was like, man, my man is really trying to hold on. He's really trying to hold on. There's something my man is trying to hold on to. And, in psychology, they call it the Adonis, the Adonis effect. But he was really trying to hold on to that Adonis thing, man. And I was like, wow. A lot of us have that. A lot of us try to hold on to stuff. There ain't nothing wrong with trying, but when it start, we always look on YouTube. You see guys tease women by trying to hold on to they looks, and I think it's a human thing. I think everybody wants to hold on to it. But when that toupee came in, I was like, wow, just go with the bald head and be done with it. And he fought hard. He tried to hold on to that toupee so hard. And then ultimately he went with the bald head. Third thing I think you guys really need to check out in relation to your own lives, how it has to deal with him. If there was a sexuality issue, don't let your sexuality issue dominate your life. Real talk. I mean, I know men don't like to hear it. But some of us are chasing pussy because we are not that hell of a dude that we tell our homeboys we are. Some of us are desperate for pussy. Some of us are extremely thirsty for pussy and will fuck anything. Yeah, I fucked it. You know what I'm saying? You got dudes who really are borderline buffoons for sex, as if sex is something that's hard to get. And if that was his life, I understand it's crazy. Some of y'all are probably saying, yeah, but maybe he was in the closet or whatever. My point is this, man. Own who you are. Own the person that you claim you are. In the daylight and the dark. Own it. Because that way, you can go to heaven with a clean slate. You can operate your at work with a clean slate. You can deal with people with a clean slate. But when you one dude over here, another person over here, because that's kind of what women do a lot. They talk about independent over here, and they begging government daddy over here. You know what I'm saying? And then in the end, they say they did it all by themselves. I just guess we as men, man, my message is don't let your sexuality dominate you like that. I think it's just the worst thing to. I just can't even imagine. Don't let your sexuality dominate you like that. The fourth thing, man, I understand how social media is, but when you posing for pictures like that, I don't know, bro. You gotta have some. I don't know, man. It goes back to that Adonis thing. I would just say have some dignity about what you're doing, man, and you know you and I understand about the pictures thing lends credence to the whole gay thing because you got a wife. If anything, you really should be posing for her. Who are you sending pictures to? You sending them to your trainer, But again, that tells a lot about a dude. Because when I talk to some chicks, man, chicks be telling me thirsty dudes be sending dick pics and thirsty dudes be sending. It's like, man, dudes do that? And I'd be amazed because it's like, it's not that serious. Why would you do that? Why would you put yourself out there just for sex? But some people feel proud of how they look. I understand that, but I don't know. It's just a weird thing, man. If you like, I guess my whole point is don't operate the way a woman operates in this world. Female, it's females and femininity. She's supposed to do little pictures of her titties and her ass. Women's their beauty fades hard and quick. A lot of women can't make it past 30, let alone 35 or 45. Guys sometimes start coming into their prime at 45 or 40 or 50. So I understand the switch, but it's like, yeah, my little message is, man, don't put yourself out there like that, man. You know, I don't know, man. I just think it's kind of weird. But to each their own. These are just suggestions. I'm not coming down on nobody. These are just suggestions. Uh, the fifth thing, man, I would look at. I think the fifth thing is probably the most important thing. As his health started to go, all the things that I mentioned earlier was really irrelevant. You know, toupee was gone. He was just rocking what he was rocking. Bald head. A lot of stuff was just gone. A lot of concerns that he had was just no more. And I think that's how we got to look at things sometimes as men. The stuff I'm stressing today, is it worth it? Is it really worth it, the stuff I'm stressing today? And if it's not worth it, if I'm not going to be concerned about this next month, next year, why is it so important right now? I think as men, we have to be better stewards of our lives before tragedy comes. That's one thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be as strategic about my life as possible. Um, and in doing so, I've become more humble because certain things are not as important. Um, my third job, which I'm at right now, and I told you guys I work this third job because I'm just kind of bored on the weekend. I decided I'm going to let this go because I just got better promotion at one of my other situations. So I got some more money on one of my other situations. So now this one is just super overkill. It's overkill, but it's super overkill now. So I just think it's better that we as men work on these things so that we're well-rounded human beings. Because one thing that the women say about us as men not having certain things together, that is true for some of us. And if it's true for anybody, including myself, we got to work on what we can work on. Stop putting blinders over our eyes about how we living. Because in Eddie Long's case, moves he was making, everybody was looking at and saying, "Dude, that's weird. Dude, that's weird." And when the gay thing finally came, it was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I can see it." And we don't want to be in that type of position. So this is just a different way of looking at Eddie Long death.